Let's bring in retired NYPD detective and CEO of P.F. Brosnan Investigative Group, Pat Brosnan. Pat, good to have you on. Thanks for being here.
Good afternoon.
So the disturbing details, we understand there's been blood found at the scene. Those reports have now come out and been confirmed. Also, some suggestion that there are ransom notes. We'll get to all of it. But, you know, Nancy Guthrie, she has limited mobility. She takes medicine every day. Put on your investigative hat, Sir Forrest, your law enforcement investigative hat. What do you think? What does your gut say happened here?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, it's either revenge or money. I mean, it's essential to go to the reason why. But let's talk briefly about cell towers and the analysis of cell tower data, because AT&T reports that they have 20 primary cell towers in that immediate area in the Catalina foothills where Nancy resides. And that's a grand slam home run for investigators, because bad guys mistakenly believe that by using a burner phone that they become invisible. But the reality is not true, as the Gilgo murderer learned, because the burner phone pings and their personal phone, which is in their name, could be hidden in the trunk, but it's pinging as well. And when you cross-reference the pings, the movement, and the location, it's very easy to identify who was out at that hour, and then the hunt is on.
So do you think, and I feel like I'm kind of reading the tea leaves on what you're saying here, that perhaps they know more, law enforcement might know more about who was moving around that scene and that home that night, and they're not sharing strategically?
I got to believe that they have information that they're strategically or tactically withholding, which is a very common investigative methodology, and it's wise and pragmatic. I do believe they know more. They have a 3,100 square foot Petri dish from which they're going to gather information and forensic evidence. No human moves in a house that size and doesn't leave trace evidence. It's just a fact of life. Just the car also left trace evidence. There's no question there was a vehicle involved. And Nancy's phone will be an absolute treasure trove of data, information, and intelligence. So they're buzzing away on this. I have great confidence in the FBI and the Sheriff's Department, but it takes time.
Of course. And of course, the reports are surfacing about, alleged ransom notes sent to a number of media outlets. There hasn't been a high-profile ransom case like this in years. How does law enforcement validate whether ransom notes are real or fake?
With great difficulty, to be very frank. And they are not common. They're very rare. Stranger abduction, ransom, kidnaps, we'll call them, are very rare. But there are different ways to provide proof of life. But to be honest, artificial intelligence in 2026 obfuscates that reality and makes it that much more difficult for investigators. So they are going 1,000 miles an hour in multiple directions. I've handled these cases myself, and there's lots of linear activity. But the reality is it may be as simple as cell phone tower analysis. I was delighted to learn that they had 20 in that relatively rural area.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating now that the FBI is seemingly to get more involved. They're participating a bit more in this investigation, whether or not anything will turn up on that. I have about 30 seconds left in our interview, but I want to throw up this map that we do have. The home 78 miles from the U.S.-Mexico border. Does that geography concern you at all, that someone might be able to abduct her and get her across the border quickly? I have about 30 seconds.
1,000%. The proximity to the Mexican border is terrifying to me. It's alarmingly close, because it all comes down to why. Why would they steal this woman out of her home at 2 in the morning? It's either revenge or it's cash. And proximity is terrifying to make her go and vanish. Very scary case.
Yeah, it sure is. And a head scratcher for sure. Retired NYPD detective and CEO of P.F. Brosnan Investigative Group. Sir Pat Brosnan, great to see you.
My pleasure. Thank you.